this is Shiloh. She's our family's favorite pet, our favorite pet that we've ever had, and we'd be horrified if anything ever happened to her. Now, I want everybody to close their eyes and imagine their favorite pet. Well, and if you don't have a favorite pet, just imagine your favorite animal. Now, I want you to imagine that animal being sent to a laboratory right now to be used as an experiment on human products. Well, you probably wouldn't like that because what's being done there is very horrible. They could be being cut open, infected with diseases, and sometimes, worst case, even killed. And you probably don't like the sound of that. Neither do I, because I love animals and I'm an animal person. But unfortunately, every year, nearly 25 million animals, innocent animals, are being used to do this. With no voice and no choice. This just breaks my heart. So I'm Sam, and I'm here to convince you why animal testing needs to be made illegal. I have 3 main points. My first point is animals are different than humans. My second point is other testing does exist. And my third point is it's inhumane and cruel to these poor innocent animals. So let's take a look at my first main point. Again, my first main point is animals are different than humans. Yes, we may have similar or sometimes even the same genes, but we express them very differently and our results vary so much. A test done by the National Advanced Science Center said that even sometimes mirror animals with our genetics, they still react completely different to test. And this just makes me think about how even different people react differently to different drugs. Like you may be allergic to something or so on. And that's just crazy for me to think that we are, as of now, using animals to test products or drugs that may be used on us. Because if people react differently, it's a whole different species. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of different reaction. This leads me to my second main point, which is there's alternate testing that does exist, and they're more humane and more reliable. For example, there's the in vitro testing, which is done in test tubes that uses human cells in human tissues, and everything's just done in they infect the diseases in the test tubes and everything, and you'll get your results that way. And I think especially with the advanced science that we have today, that we should be able to use different testings and not use non-animal testings and not use animals as an experiment. There was a test done by the Neve Science Center, and it was on an epiderm test, and they used rabbits, and there was a 40% fail rate, which is very high. That's not good to think about, and I wouldn't want those products being used on me. Which leads me to my third main point, is it's inhumane and it's cruel. These animals are innocent and they have no voice and they have no choice. And it leads them to stress or sometimes even death. And there was another test, as the Human Society of the United States said, at Virginia University, there was a rabbit that they failed to remove from the cage after doing the test, and they were doing the cage cleanings, and they had this rabbit, and it was being tested. The cage was being cleaned, and during the cleaning processes, it gets up to 180 degrees, and this rabbit unfortunately died, not because of the test, but because the scientists failed to be smart enough to take the rabbit out. Honestly, that sounds bad, but that's what happened, and that's just horrible for me to think of. And I'm going to share a more personal story. So I have a friend who adopted a dog who used to be used as an experiment and would be locked in kennels for days, wouldn't be getting out for air, nothing. So this dog went up for adoption because this company got busted, and they now have this dog. And when they first got her, she was scared of everything. She was super frantic, and that's not how a dog's supposed to be. Dogs are supposed to be super fun, super loving, but this dog wasn't. she's warming up a little bit more now, but it's just horrible to think that she's not the only dog that feels like this, or the only animal that has this feeling of being scared. And it's just horrible to think of. Like, she did get out of it, she did survive, but other animals didn't, and it just makes me so sad to think. And also, this just makes me think of being a hospital patient and being tested on daily, like not being able to go outside and get fresh air, just sitting in the hospital getting test after test done. And I just think it's absolutely horrible. And there are some opposing views, which, I mean, everything's going to have an opposing view, but the opposing views that I researched are it has saved some lives and created some cures. But then I look at that and I think, well, it saved some lives, but it also has killed some lives of dogs or other animals. And then another opposing view was nothing compares to a test that's on a living thing. Well, it may be living, but then again, it's not a human. So it's not, the results are going to vary and they may not even work out. And then another opposing view is animals are so similar to humans that they're a good test subject, which, I mean, they are similar to humans, but then again, they aren't humans. So I'm going to do a little recap. Again, my first main point was animals aren't the same as humans. My second main point was alternate testing exists. And my third main point is it's cruel. And so today I was here to convince you that animal testing needs to be made illegal, and hopefully with some of the points I shared, you agree with me. And there's not much we can do to change besides maybe when you go to the stores, read a little bit about the product that you're using, see if it's an animal-free product, and if it is, use it. If it's not, maybe rethink of the item that you're gonna buy and buy something else that is not tested by animals. And with that, I thank you.